Hi, y'all. This is Amanda Ayers, and I am the Senior Student Advisor this year for Sigma Tau Delta, working with the Student Leadership Committee. So I am honored today to be able to introduce you all to our common reader for the 2020 and 2021 year. And I'm also really excited to get to introduce you to this video series that the student leaders have put together and are going to be sharing with you all over the next couple of months that will talk about the common reader and the ways that we're seeing connections between the common reader and our theme for the 2021 convention, which is metamorphosis. So first, let me introduce the common reader. This is Rough Beauty by Karen Auvinen, 40 Seasons of Mountain Living. We are really excited to have this book featured and to have this Colorado writer featured. Karen has a really interesting connection with the Colorado mountains and with that area because she actually moved there and lived there by herself. She did that thing that I think all of us as writers sort of romanticize, right? So this idea of I'm just going to sell everything and move to the mountains. Well, she did that with her dog. So she literally did it. And I think it's so interesting the insight that she then has into ideas about isolation, ideas about change, and the evolution and maturing of a person that happens in isolation and in moments of change and of trauma. In the very first chapters, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today, in the prologue and in chapter 1, she sort of starts to give us a glimpse, one, into this decision that she made to move to the mountains and to live by herself in a cabin. Also, P.S., I know it looks like I also live by myself alone in a cabin in Colorado. I don't. I live in a cottage in Florida, which is a very different thing than a cabin in Colorado, but it has a similar aesthetic from the inside, so we're going to roll with it. But yeah, so I really enjoyed reading about Karen's decision to move and sort of her experiences in the first few years of living on her own in the mountains. She has a pretty traumatic experience early on that results in the destruction of her home, which is such an extreme thing in so many ways and so very symbolic of I think what change often feels like for us, and that's really my big takeaway from these first few pages of her book is this idea that metamorphosis, that change, it always seems to happen at this intersection of endings and beginnings, right? So you either have this really beautiful beginning that is always accompanied by a sad and grieving, a sadness and a grieving that happens as something ends, right? Or for a lot of us, and I think we feel this a lot in this moment, that endings can be traumatic. For all of us that were pulled out of school and that are now facing the daily anxiety of this pandemic, and then for so many of us that have been engaging in the conversations that are going on in our world today around racial justice and this kind of thing. There's this call for change and there's this desperate desire for it. And I think that it's always this conversation of what has to end in order for that to truly begin. And yeah, so I just have been thinking a lot about that intersection between beginnings and endings and how that's such an important part of change and of true change, of maturing and metamorphosis and growth. And that oftentimes that image, that symbol of fire is so apt to describe what change often feels like, which is oftentimes a burning to the ground of all of the things, right? And in some ways we may want that. We want to burn the systems to the ground. But I think it's also this idea of kind of what then we make of the ash and what then we build in that place. So anyway, these are just some of my ramblings and my thoughts that I've been processing as I've been reading. I am really, really intrigued to hear the other student leaders and their perspective on this book. So throughout the next couple of months, we're going to be posting and sharing these videos with you with our thoughts as we sort of work our way through the book. If you haven't already, make sure you get your copy. Go to your local library, support your local library if you can, find it there, or find a local bookstore near you that can sell it or order it for you. We want to continue supporting those amazing organizations in this this year and in this moment. So yeah, thank you all so much for taking a few minutes to watch this. And I really am excited to get to explore this common reader with you this year and to continue seeing what we can learn together about change and about metamorphosis. So wonderful. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.